might leave your ankles on the field, put you on the rail. How you feel? Feel the watch the sweep just like a broom. Hail Mary and put his GM in a tomb. Make some room, call it timeout, cause they not ready. Think they feeling all the pressure, cause they know I apply it heavy. Try to cover one-on-one.
Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, BetOnline is where the game starts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Believe in Bills. I am Justice General Radford. That is championship coach Muki Hawkins. Legend in 2 games, no Pee-wee. Shout out to my boy Ray Peso for that intro, that song he made for us. That's a fire song to me.
Fire track.
Shout out to Bet Online, Sports Illustrated, Believe, all that. Big game today, Coach. Big game today. Hey, I mean, even if the circumstances weren't what they were, making this the biggest game of the season thus far, it still would have been one of, if not the biggest game of the season, regardless. And today kind of puts those circumstances even into more deep, especially for the Bills, and even to a certain extent for the Chiefs as well, because looking at it coming in today, they coming off of a bad loss. Not only a bad loss, but a few not great looking wins. And they kind of look like they're a little vulnerable. The Bills coming off of a very strong performance. Another game where they went toe-to-toe with maybe what was looking like the best team in the league up to that point. And really only lost because they beat themselves, which of course is a story that we hear about the Bills a lot. But it reared its ugly head again. But they were the better football team on the field that day. And today, they coming off of a bye, but they got look, man, you can't, whatever you want to say about the Chiefs, they're not performing, they're doing this, blah, 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 blah. They're the champion, they're the defending champions. And you still got to treat them as such. So with that being said, Coach, do the Bills do they actually have a shot today?
Of course, they definitely have a shot today. I mean, this is not a bad Bills team. Let me just say that. Okay, yes, they have dealt with injuries and stuff like that, but this isn't a bad Bills team by far. Again, you saw, 2 weeks ago versus Philadelphia that they proved that they can play with the best of the league because they are one of the best teams in the league. Their record just doesn't say it. Their record just doesn't say it. And why they record don't say it. There's been some up and downs. There's been some bad decisions. There's been some bad choices on why that record says what it says. But, some people say you are who your record say you are. Yeah, I say 50-50 when it comes to this Bills team in reference to that. This Bills team is definitely still one of the best teams in the NFL. They have the quarterback. And when you have a quarterback that's one of the best in the league, you definitely have a chance against anybody in the league. So at the end of the day, the Bills have the makeup to run the table. It starts today versus Kansas City, though.
Yeah, they definitely do have one of the best teams in the league. That's for sure. You look at it and they are top 5 in offense and defense, right? Which is insane. And realistically, if the Bills don't beat themselves, they're probably looking at being around 10-2, maybe.
10-2. Let's just say 9-3 for now. Let's just say 9. Let's be a little bit more real. Let's say 9-3. And 9-3 right now in the NFL give you top seed right now.
For sure.
That's just how it is. Like 9-3. If you say, okay, they definitely shouldn't have lost to New England. That's just point blank period. You had no business losing to a Mac Jones-led team at all. Period. Shouldn't have lost that game. Definitely shouldn't have lost the Philly game. I feel you shouldn't have lost that game. You were in control of that game until the last couple of seconds. And then the Denver game. I mean, Denver didn't want to win the game, and it seemed like the Bills didn't want to win it either. So those are 3 games right there. You can say easily the Bills should have won. The Bills would be 9-3 right now. Josh Allen to be in MVP consideration if that was the case. They wouldn't be just talking about his interceptions. I'm so over the Josh Allen turnover thing. You know what I mean? I'm just so over that.
It's certainly overblown for sure. And that's kind of like I know I've done like extensive research on this, but like I get a scope of everybody's opinion. Just and whenever people talk about the Bills, I like to tune in. And people talk about, well, you also it is a part of what who he is, and so you have to highlight it. And it's like I understand that, but it's only a small part of who he is as a quarterback. I mean, it like you could talk about it, but how are you going to talk about only that and leave out the 92% that's left on the table?
Right. I mean, I don't want to say that's just, that's expected out of Josh Allen. Interceptions isn't expected out of any quarterback. But, it's the situations at times that Josh Allen has put in. And, hey, he has some misfires. Of course, he definitely has some misfires. But it's not so much of a gap to where Josh is turning the ball over. And then the next guy that's, underneath him has half of that, turnover ratio. Patrick Mahomes, all the top quarterbacks out here right now are neck and neck as far as interceptions. So I don't understand why he just get the most flack on, like he's just a turnover machine. You know what I mean? I guess you have to blame Dorsey for that, because we weren't hearing this about Josh Allen until last year, where he led the league in interceptions inside the red zone. So I think that was more of a Ken Dorsey thing, because in the 5 years under Coach Dable, he never threw an interception inside the red zone. You know what I mean? So that more or less let me know that was a Ken Dorsey thing, that, he put Josh in situations that wasn't good and made Josh make bad decisions. So, hopefully, Brady is cleaning that up. You see a better turnover. You see a better TD to turnover ratio with Joe Brady at the helm these past 2 games. So, I don't think that, is really an excuse or yeah, he's that, like, that's going to happen. Like, that's going to happen. No, that's not going to happen. It's just the situations that, Josh is allowed to be in, and he just got to get, completely away from that aura that Dorsey created. You know what I mean? So coming off this bye week as Kansas City, I'm quite sure Josh is locked in, because he knows who he's up against. He's playing against Patrick Mahomes, and, I'm quite sure you're going to see a more elevated raise of play. You know what I mean? Watch Josh Allen today. He's going to take his game to a whole nother level. So, yeah, I'm over the interception thing with Josh Allen. I'm just really over that. Mahomes just about has the same amount of interceptions as Josh Allen do, and they're not talking about Patrick Mahomes in that fashion. So we're going to see today.
And not only, excuse me, not only does Patrick Mahomes have 2, 3 less interceptions than Josh Allen, Josh Allen has like 8 more total touchdowns or something crazy like that. Like, Josh Allen is far ahead of the pack in touchdowns. He's right up there in the top 5 in passing yards, passing completion, all these stats. But the one stat people want to highlight is the turnovers. And I think it was a really interesting point you brought up about him never have thrown an interception in the first 5 years under Dayball. Like, I totally forgot about that. That was a really good point. And then, they obviously have become more of a problem. But I agree with you, but I think it's in a different way. Like you mentioned, how it's kind of Brady's fault. I feel like it is Dorsey's, excuse me. Yeah, Dorsey's fault. I feel like it is, but because I feel like our offense was so stagnated, and it really, I feel like it just didn't put our team in the best position. Like, just coming off the field so much, punting so much. That's not the brand of football that our defense is used to playing behind, and it put them in a lot of compromising positions, and having no real game flow. It's clear and obvious now. I was saying it while it was happening, but it was just like, am I tripping? But now that I see Brady in action, I'm like, yeah, it's obvious. Like there was absolutely no game flow. He had no like sequencing of his play calling, and so that kind of backfired on us. And then just to hear the confidence that Joe Brady talks about Josh Allen with is really really dope. But let's flip to the other side of the other team real quick, because we are facing off against another top 2 quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. And his wide receivers are kind of like Josh's from like a couple of years ago, right? When Josh only had Diggs and everybody else was dropping everything. And now Patrick kind of only has Travis and everybody is kind of dropping everything. And even Travis is dropping some stuff too. But and now Josh kind of has like a best receiver in the league, amazing tight end combo of his own. And Travis kind of only has the one weapon. So it's kind of like roles have reversed a little bit. The Bills secondary has been well. I mean, they have good numbers. Like they've been playing well. You could say whatever you want in the flow of the game, but the overall numbers look good. And they've been able to hold some wide receivers down. What do you think they're able to do against this subset of pass catchers for the Kansas City Chiefs?
What are the Bills' defense going to do as far as the pass catchers?
Yes.
I mean, hey, they've been facing Kansas City just about every year, so it's not nothing new that they, are expecting. Yeah, his weaponry as far as Patrick Mahomes' weapons he has is not how it's been in the past, but we can't look at that and just put it on cruise control either. We'll play down to that level of competition, and then next, guys like Rashid Rice and Sky Moore have career days. I mean, shit like that. So we gotta address it as such. We gotta play like, hey, like Tyreek Hill is out there, like Travis Kelce is on top of his game. So we gotta treat it as such. We gotta treat it as such as this is the Super Bowl defending champion. I don't care who in the hell they got on their team that's playing. They're in our way. We need to win against these guys. So, I expect this Bills team to come out playing fast, playing aggressive, because Coach McDermott has been playing that as of late. Guys just have to step up and make plays today. Obviously, we know Travis Kelce is their go-to guy. So, we're going to have to, scheme around that. You're going to have to get pressure. I mean, these are the games that, Coach McDermott and Brandon Beane, brought in guys like Von Miller, brought in guys like Leonard Floyd to get after the quarterback. So, this is what we want to see. Can we get after Patrick Mahomes today? This is it. Now, this is going to be why they're bringing in these type of free agents. We need to get after Patrick Mahomes today. If the Bills can get after Patrick Mahomes today, hey, it's going to definitely work in their favor. But we cannot, take the foot off the brake if that happens. They did that versus Philly. They was aggressive versus Jalen Hurts. He had 80 yards, in 3 quarters, and all of a sudden they just, stepped on the brakes and allowed, Jalen Hurts just to win the game so easily. So they cannot do that against Patrick Mahomes. And if they do that in that fashion again, it's not going to be good. It won't be good for this coaching staff, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it never is when you give him ample time to do something. And that includes when, you aren't rushing hard and you're giving him time to scramble around in the pocket and do his little ballet dancing that he does. I mean, he's quite good at it. So
well, they shouldn't have to do that now, because I mean, no disrespect, but no receivers really out there posing a threat where we got the double. You know what I mean? So they should be ultra aggressive versus Patrick Mahomes. Give him a look that he has not seen yet out of this Bills defense, and just get after him. On the flip side of that, Kansas City's defense has been probably the best that I didn't seen in the Patrick Mahomes era. Yeah, so sure. that's the flip side caveat of it all. But one thing about the Bills is their offense has always been explosive every single year. Is explosive against Philly. If they can be explosive against Philadelphia, they can be explosive against anybody. And that's the biggest question mark. Why is this team 6-6? You said it yourself. Top 5 defense, top 5 offense. Quarterback is a top 3 quarterback in this NFL. Why are they 6-6? And you can say the injuries, and it took them, a while just to get, in sync defensively and get on track with certain things. But coaching has lost some ball games. I'm gonna be quite honest. Some coaching decisions have definitely lost some ball games there. So that cannot happen against Kansas City today. It cannot be because of coaching that you know that they lose. You know, and what do you do about that? Like, if you're losing games because of coaching, what do you do? I mean, Coach McDermott has changed his culture, and he made this team a contender. So, I mean, you cannot just push that to the side and forget about what this man has done. So it's just kind of like a tough situation, right now with this Bills team. Has he maxed out with this team? That's the biggest question that Bills fans are saying. Has Coach McDermott really maxed out? And in certain in phases of it, it's showing. I don't want to say that he's maxed out. But, I just really can't pinpoint why this team is 6-6. You know what I mean? So it's definitely not the players. It's definitely not the players. Of course, Dorsey was this scapegoat, but okay, now what? You can't blame it on Dorsey. Leslie Frazier is not on the defensive side. So, all things is pointing to Coach McDermott at this phase. Whatever went on this week wasn't a distraction. Coach McDermott, he's a pro. He handled that, in the fashion that he handled it in. So I don't think that's not going to be a distraction at all. I think these teams, know what's at stake. They are professionals, and they got to go out there and play like their playoff lives is on the line. And that ain't got nothing to do with the coaches. That's within the players. So at the end of the day, they gotta play to their potential these next 5 weeks. So we definitely gonna see, because this is a must-win game here at Kansas City. I don't have a problem with the Bills' offense. I would like to see Leonard Fournette in the uniform at some point, but I don't think that this offense is going to have problem putting up points to the point where Kansas City offense has been struggling. So if the Bills just go out and continue to be themselves, put up 30 points, I don't see Kansas City putting up 30 points against this Bills defense. Now, yes, it's going to go over. What's the over? About 48 and a half or something like that. I do believe that, they will go over, but I don't think that Kansas City, if they want to get in the shootout matchup with the Bills, they're definitely going to lose this game. So they don't have enough firepower to keep up, what the Bills have to offer offensively.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about how the Bills kind of have to take the Chiefs seriously because they're defending champions. I mean, at this point, again, they said you got to play like every game's a playoffs. You got to take everybody seriously. I don't care if you playing the Patriots. I don't care if you playing the Eagles. Like, you got to take everybody seriously. At this point, you can't lose any more games. Really, you got to get into that playoff mode, because even if you accomplish the goal of winning enough games to sneak your way into the playoffs, then the real competition starts. You know what I mean? So you just got to be there for the rest of the season, and you got to get it together. And you kind of mentioned McDermott and, having to take some accountability, because there's really nobody to blame anymore. You took over the defense, and I will admit it started off really aggressive. And I honestly, I think if Leslie Frazier would have had this particular defensive line, I feel like he would have had a lot more success too, personally, to be fair. And then, due to some injuries, and I'm not sure what else, maybe a little conservativeness, they've been less aggressive lately. But there's no Dorsey to blame. Joe Brady has been doing the thing. And the Eagles, your defense allowed like 3 straight scoring drives or something like that in the second half. Not only that, but you made some key coaching decisions that were contributed to us losing that game. So yeah, it is, time for accountability. Speaking of accountability, there are some distractions that have been put on the Bills organization and in the Bills locker room due to some comments that said head coach made. So when you couple key losses to really nobody else, you can't really blame anybody else for a few key losses that could keep us out the playoffs. And then these comments becoming a distraction in the national media. It was just on SNL last night. Could that be the McDermott's doom?
I don't think I'm gonna say about that, and I put my little cryptic tweet up about it. Like, man, this type of stuff happens on all levels. From little league to high school to college and the pros, right? It's a dirty game. The only thing I'm gonna say about that, man, don't be bitter about this shit. Be better. This happened in 2019, and we know Coach McDermott has these analogies, right? He's always coming up with catchphrases and stuff like that. Okay, 1 out of 100 analogies that this guy said, was a bad one. It was a bad one, and it happened 4 years ago. It happened 4 years ago. So why is it coming out now? Why is it coming out now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It coming out now. Why? Because this person got released off the team, this coach got fired, or this front office person isn't around no more. Why is it coming out now? You know what I mean? If that was said and somebody had a problem about it, it should have been addressed back then, on how they felt about it. You know what I mean? Like, to come out now with it, okay, I get it. But
strategic timing for sure.
Okay, but okay, for why? Okay, it was 25.
That's the question, right? Is why?
Why? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Why? 25 coaches, between 25 coaches and players and stuff like that. And I mean, hey, how Stephon Diggs said, there's some truth to every rumor. You know what I mean? Not to say that what was reported was false or inaccurate or whatever, but why? You know what I'm saying? Why all of a sudden this is coming out now? This happened in 2019. You know what I mean? You could have left the 2019 piece out of it and then, carried on with, what the sources had to say in reference to coach or whatever the case may be. But to throw that out there, that should have been said. That should have been reported. You know what I mean? That should have been, addressed in 2019. You know what I mean? To me, it's out of stat. You know what I mean? It's out of statute of limitations for that one. So when that, to me, I felt that was just a personal shot at McDermott. I ain't even gonna hold you. You know what I mean? I just feel that was a personal shot, at the guy, and that's just guys being bitter of the situation, how things panned out for them. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think that was just too personal right there. You know what I mean? It's a way to do it. Everybody does their thing a little bit more differently, and I can't knock that. But I just think that was just that was a little bit personal, in that article right there. So, I mean, did it reveal some things? Of course it did, but I just thought that was just that was just a little bit too personal for Coach McDermott. That was just a little bit too personal for my taste.
Yeah, I kind of gave my thoughts on it as well. I kind of said, I don't really, to be fair, like, I don't really care about the comments per se. For me personally, like, I understand they could be offensive to people, but like, I've seen way worse be said in locker rooms. And the issue for me is, it's like, this is going to be a distraction, right? Because now you are in a position, you're in a compromising position. You're 6-6. You're on the outside looking in. You're playing the quote unquote best team in AFC, and it becomes a huge distraction. And it's like, what timing? Like the timing was just like, wow, you couldn't really pick a more perfect time if you were trying to attack someone. You know what I mean? So it kind of sucks that as a fan of the team, that this is a thing that I know is probably, an issue to some degree in the locker room. But how will they be able to overcome it on the field? Like, being around the locker room for you personally, is that something that seems like it's bothering these guys?
Not at all. It's not bothering them because it has nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? It can't bother the players, so it ain't got nothing to do with them. It has something to do with the coach, and coach addressed it right off the rip, whatever it is. And everybody don't want to say, he has accountability issues. He don't have accountability issues. He just have a way of transparency, not being transparent enough of being accountable. I don't think he and I feel that Coach McDermott is definitely getting better with that because you can't point the finger at who right now but yourself. You know, Dorsey's not here, Frazier's not here, so you can't point the finger at nobody else. You can't blame the players. You know what I mean? You know, as a coach, you put them in position to make the plays, and if they're just not making the plays, you make the changes. But if you making some bad situations and putting them in bad positions, of course you have to be accountable and say, hey, it starts with him, and he has said that. It does start with him. So I don't know what y'all want him to say. Y'all want him to say, "Well, I apologize for putting my team in this situation." In so many ways, he's been saying it, but I don't know what people want at this point from Coach McDermott in reference to him being accountable. I mean, yeah. I guess the knock on him is he has some accountability issues. Okay, so if he say it's my fault, I shouldn't have put my team in that situation, then what? We're still going to keep hearing it. So, I don't think it's a distraction at all. Those players know what they got to do. Again, they're professionals. They've been in these situations before. It hasn't, stirred up the locker room. Only thing I think that, what it would do is that the players will ride for their coach at this point. So I think that's going to happen, So it's not a distraction at all. All those guys are pro McDermott in there. And the ones that isn't are the ones that's probably attached to that article that everybody's reading.
Yeah. I mean, it was a completely separate team, and that was before any real winning had been installed into the program. So
now I can name names that's a part of that article, but I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not gonna do that. But I know where some of that stuff is coming from, but not gonna do that. It is what it is. It was said what was said, and I mean, hey, you gotta play football, you gotta play through it. I don't think it's gonna be a distraction now if if it just continues to happen in that fashion, then obviously that's an issue that needs to be addressed. And how do you address it? Only people that can address it is ownership, in the front office. So that's it. I mean, that's the only people that he has the answer to in reference to that. If it continues to happen, we'll see tonight. If those same lapses happens, if those lapses continue to be consistent, that's a coaching issue. It's not having to do anything with the players. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen. Will he be fired? I don't think so. I just don't think that they will get rid of a guy who basically turned this franchise around. But something has to happen to where in certain situations down the stretch, they can't have these lapses down the stretch. You know what I mean? And that's just been the Achilles heel of this Bills team. You dominate the game. You look so much of a Super Bowl contending team, and then all of a sudden, late in games, the bottom just falls out of it, like like you're 0-10. You know what I mean? So that's like the biggest head scratcher that I have, with this team. And why is that happening? And it all leads to the coach. It all points back to the coach, of course. It all points back to him. So they can't continue to have these lapses down the stretch when they need to close out ball games. So we're going to see again against Kansas City. It has happened. Versus Kansas City, a few lapses down the stretch. We're going to see, will that continue? Andy Reid, basically raised Coach McDermott, so he knows him like the back of a hand. So what will Coach do a little bit more different? What is the added wrinkle that, is going to make Andy Reid adjust? And then once Andy Reid adjusts, how will Coach McDermott counter adjust that? Because Andy Reid is one of the best coaches when it comes to adjustments and I've ever seen. He's better. That's what Kansas City do. That's their makeup. So second half, you have to see the adjustments on what Andy Reid made and how would the Bills counter adjust, the adjustments that Kansas City has made in that second half. If they don't, and then, the Bills all of a sudden is just dominating the first half, and then the second half, they just look like the Chicago Bears or, a 0-10 team or something like that, then yeah, that's a continuing problem, and that's a coaching issue and it needs to be addressed to some degree. Whether coach has to find a new DC and he just focus on being the head coach, whatever the case may be. But I don't think that they're going to fire him. I don't think they're going to fire Coach McDermott at all.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing it as well. Although I did run a poll, I got like 1,200 votes, something like that. About 60% of people want McDermott gone. So it'll be interesting to see how they maneuver that.
I mean, the biggest question is, has he take this team as far as can he take it?
What a lot of people
that's the
like
thing.
Has
he maxed out with this team? You know what I mean? And that's the big question. Maybe it's somebody else. I mean, it happened with Andy Reid, but at least Andy Reid got to Super Bowls and lost. He maxed out with Philadelphia to the point where he understood that, and when he got to Kansas City, we know what he did wrong, and he made his move, and now they're winning Super Bowls and one of the best teams in the league. So again, this is Coach McDermott first crack at being a head coach. Yeah, he's been coaching this team for 7 years, but every year you are learning something different about yourself as far as being a head coach.
Andy Reid didn't win a chip for a minute.
Right. He hasn't been a head coach anywhere else. This is his first time being a head coach, period. You know what I mean? So you learn things every year. This is not it's not a step-by-step booklet for you to get. You know what I mean? So it's what you make it, And again, there they go talking about it on NFL Live right now. They want to make it a distraction, but to the team within the building and the organization, it's not a distraction at all. It's not.
Okay. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. The Chiefs defense is coming off of a heck of a game. And when I say a heck of a game, I mean they did not have fun while being on that field. Jordan Love put him through the ringer. He put up 27 points on him, 70% passing, 267 yards, 3 tutties and no picks, 118 QB rating, and a 90 QBR. I mean, the Chiefs are, supposedly one of the best defenses in the league. And I don't mean supposedly as in like disrespectfully. I just mean like I don't know it to be true. So this is what I've heard. They're supposedly one of the best defenses in the league. But Jordan Love went up there and hurting on them. What vulnerabilities does that lead to for Josh Allen and Joe Brady here?
This is my thing. NFL is a copycat league, and I don't see the Bills ever copy nothing that other teams do against these upper echelon teams that work. So maybe Brady is that type. Hey, I saw this. That Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers found some success on. Let's give it a little window dressing and do the same thing type of deal. You know what I mean? I want to see that. Hopefully we should see that. If Jordan Love can go to Kansas City and be flawless, and we don't do that with Josh Allen today, yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's definitely going to be a problem. If they struggle, that's just letting you know that the Bills is going here and everybody else is getting better, and that's been the case. That's definitely has been the case. For instance, right? You lose to Denver. Denver got 70 put up on them, all right, against the team that you beat by damn near 30.
Yep.
Then you lose to this team who got 70 put up. So Denver obviously has gotten better to the point where the Bills have not been getting better. But, the past couple of games, even though they lost to Philly, they're on the up. They're trending upward. But we're going to see, again, how much has this team gotten better, versus what they've been doing in the past, right? So Green Bay came into Kansas City, beat Kansas City in Kansas City. It should be no fear factor for this Bills team to go out here and do the same with a much more explosive offense and a better defense.
I'm going to say something that it might be a little controversial. The Bills have the better football team here. Like, I feel like it's kind of like by far. So it just is like, but they beat themselves so much this year that it's just like I don't know what to expect. I don't know what team to expect.
themselves. Why? They're beating themselves because it's been coaching. We're not going to nickname
Yeah.
that part. The coaching has been one of the biggest reasons on why this team is beating themselves. Like you only beat yourself is because of coaching. You know,
Undisciplined
right. Why you not undisciplined? Because of the coaching.
coaching. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that has to get better. Obviously, that definitely has to get better. And it has to get better very, very, very quick because we cannot allow teams like Green Bay going into Kansas City, beating them convincingly, and then us to come in here, and all of a sudden have a lackluster performance. So that's just all I'm saying with that. Like they have to show that they want to make this playoffs. They have to play with some urgency here. You can say it all you want, but you got to go out there and play like it. And you cannot play with a sense of urgency for 3.5 quarters. You got to play for the full damn 4 quarters. Keep the foot on the gas. Ain't no brake. The brake on the car is broke at this point. Right now, the Bills should be going 1,000 miles per hour, running into everything. It's a crash course collision to the damn playoffs. All right, I'm going to repeat that. It's a crash course collision to the playoffs. So the brake is broke off the car right now. It's all damn gas. And I ain't talking about an electric car neither. All right. I ain't talking about a damn electric car. We ain't got to plug it in and plug it out. No, it's all gas. All right. We got reserve tanks and everything. We ready to roll. We locked in. They have to be locked in these next 5 games. And then, come on. No Isaiah Pacheco today. No Pacheco today. No Donovan Smith today. So you got your starting running back and your left tackle isn't playing today. All right. On the flip side, the starting safety isn't playing, and Drew Tranquil, who's a good cover linebacker, is not going to play as well. All right. So if this Kansas City team come out here and run wild against this Bills team with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's only averaging 13 yards a game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire come out here and just get a 100-yard day, I'm going to know something about that. If the Bills don't get after Patrick Mahomes with Donovan Smith, their left tackle, not playing, I know something today. The offense, if the offense don't put up, their usual 30 points, what are we doing here? So again, a lot of questions is going to be answered with this game. And if the Bills don't come out victorious, then, you may start seeing the Bills, giving other guys a chance to play to see, what they can do. Maybe you might see Kyer Elam, activated. You may see a Justin Shorter suited up. Again, I would love to see Leonard Fournette in action before we just losing to another team next year or wherever the case may be. Right. So, I hope that ain't the case. I hope this Bills team go out here and do what they're supposed to do because the odds are in their favor. They're back up against the wall. And, we'll see how this team responds with their back up against the wall right now.
Yeah, you mentioned they got to play with the pedal to the metal, no breaks. Got to treat this like the NCAA college football playoff system where style points matter. You need to beat people down in order to get to these playoffs because you look at the death row of opponents that they have, and it damn near might as well be a playoff run. You got the Chiefs, you got the Dolphins, you got the Cowboys, you got you got all these teams where you might end up having to beat these same teams if you want to win a championship. So this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and get some wins under your belt, get some confidence in your system, and get ready for a deep playoff run. But it all starts with the game today. Got to win today. You need to win today. It's a conference opponent. You can't afford any more losses, let alone conference losses. So got to get a win today. All right, let's go ahead and get some X factors and score predictions before we get up out of here. So who is the X factor for today?
My guy's always the X factor, James Cook. The Bills go really how James Cook go. And if, he gets over 15 touches, the Bills are in the driver's seat to win. The last time against Philly, he had 16. That was the first time that James Cook had over 15 carries and they lost. So, if they can keep that up, get James Cook some touches, get him going, get him going on the outside. Don't have him running inside into the teeth of, the big uglies in
Chris
there.
Jones.
Chris Jones and stuff like that. Have them, force those guys to chase James Cook, tire him out. Give James Cook some sweeps, some outside zone. Let Latavius Murray and Ty Johnson, bang in between the tackles and be physical. But you want to give James Cook the ball in space, make those guys chase, make the linebackers cover. And if the linebackers is covering, then, that's going to allow Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid and Stephon Diggs, more one-on-one matchups because, he has to be accounted for. So, the Bills go as James Cook go. And if they get going there and, then, the Bills will have a great day, So I say the Bills is definitely going to win this one. They got to go ahead and get the job done. Hopefully we'll see some continuity on both sides of the ball. Some complimentary football. Again, the biggest things we want to see, can the Bills run the ball? Because they haven't been able to run the ball against this Kansas City defense in the past. So, one, will they be able to run the ball? Two, will they be able to get, Patrick Mahomes on the ground? And three, third down is going to be key in this game. You got two of the best in the game right now. So third down is definitely key. And the Bills are, leading the league in third down conversion. So, those three things. If the Bills could, establish a run game, it takes the pressure off of Josh Allen. And, hey, if they can get Patrick Mahomes on the ground and they can convert on third down and get Kansas City off the field on third down, hey, that's a good recipe for a Bills victory, in my book, if you ask me. So I'll say Bills go out there and get the job done, and it's still not going to be easy because the intensity is going to be, what it is. Bills chief always bring the thunder, so it doesn't matter who's playing, who's not playing. Guys are definitely going to rise to the occasion, and I think the Bills do pull it out 29-20.
Yeah, I have to agree. I was actually going to say exact same things. For me, my X factor was actually getting back to complementary football. You now have that opportunity with the offense looking like the Bills offense should look, and even still, getting better every week. Now you're coming off of a full week where Joe Brady gets to implement his system and kind of his own personal imprint on the offense and get those guys, doing the things that he would like to see done. This is the perfect opportunity to get a few stops, get off the field on defense, to score some points early, quick, fast, blitz them a little bit, and get a really good W in the long run. For me, I'm gonna say it's gonna be 19-32 Bills. So
32-19. Pretty close, yeah. I see it somewhere in there between there and there too. I mean, the Bills' offense right now is just been clicking. So if they continue to click against this Kansas City defense, they should be able to score 30 points. They're normal. I don't see Kansas City just scoring 30 points. They struggle to score points. So all of a sudden, if this team who's been struggling to score points against lackluster defenses, all of a sudden just scored 30 points against this defense, that's a problem too. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? Why did it come to the Bills that, hey, Jordan Phillips said it himself. At times, this team plays down to the level of a competition. And he's right. And he ain't backtracked that statement. I asked him about that, and he stayed true to that statement. Play down to our level of competition. They better not play. I mean, this is Kansas City. This is Super Bowl defending champion. So you cannot play down to the level of competition if you want to, just because this is not a Kansas City team that, has been in the past with the firepower that they have had. They still have Patrick Mahomes over there. So anything is possible with that quarterback over there. I don't care who's the receivers. I don't care who the running back is. So they got to go out there and treat Kansas City how they are. Just don't play down to your level of competition. Go out there and punch Kansas City in the mouth. Keep punching them in the mouth until the damn clock strikes 0 and you walking away with that W.
Yeah. Hey, all you got to do is get a win, man. All you got to do is get a win. Get a win here. Make it look good, for some style points. That'd be nice. Your strong performance going into the rest of the season could provide some really, really good confidence. But hey, the Buffalo Bills.
Dolph. So with that being said, the Bills have to run the table these 5 games to make the playoffs. Do you believe?